You're listening to Mad Men Sports, sponsored by Black Button Distilling. To my left with the bucket hat, Zach.
How's it going?
To my right, we have Diamond Dave.
With the no hat.
What's going on, Dave?
Jake, I'm great.
Good. Are you great because your Bills are 7-3?
Got that winning feeling. Yeah, I'm great.
I know, it's fantastic, Zach. We're 7-3.
I woke up to some great news this morning, guys.
Oh, what is it?
I saved a bunch of money by switching my car insurance to Geico.
I'm
kidding.
Does Dad know?
I'm kidding. Josh Allen, Week 11 Player of the Week.
Second time in his career, his short career, too.
Absolutely, both against the Dolphins.
You woke up to me this morning. We went to breakfast.
That's what
weird.
the hell? I'm calling the police.
We were at breakfast when we found out, yes, but I did not wake up to you.
Yeah, this is weird. Can we restart this podcast?
No, keep it rolling. People don't watch anyways.
So here's the thing. Josh Allen, hell of a year, probably his best week as a Buffalo Bill. Probably in his whole career, it was probably his best week last week.
1,000%.
Yeah, I know we have the Broncos game, but we are a week away from seeing him play in his first big-time television performance. That's pretty big, I agree.
Yeah, I saw that tweet that you put out earlier. So it's the first time that he's been in a nationally televised game?
Yeah, and someone commented that his bowl game was nationally televised, but I don't think ESPN 7 is nationally televised, if you ask me. The Idaho Potato Bowl stinks. I mean, UB played in it like 3 years ago. No one cares.
No, the Cowboys Thanksgiving game is where it's at. That's what we all watched as kids. We all watched the Lions game while Mom was yelling at us to clean the house.
This is bigger than Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football.
And then the Cowboys game is the one where all the family's sitting around yelling at the team, whatever team it is, whoever's playing the Cowboys, whether it's the Redskins, the Eagles, in this case the Bills. Everyone's Bills fans in the country today. Even though they're marked as America's team.
Next week.
Marked as America's team. That's bullshit. The Bills will be America's team next Thursday.
Are we playing the Broncos this week?
Yeah, but back to this, and also back to the Player of the Week thing. Zach and I played a fun game today. I texted him on my BlackBerry that I have, and I said to him, when was the last time a Bills player was AFC Player of the Week?
Josh Allen.
I was proven wrong. It was Josh Allen just last year. But before that,
proven wrong. He was wondering. I told him.
Before that, Zach had a fun fact. Zach, who was that before? I thought it was Fred Jackson.
Week 9, 1999, Doug Flutie.
Flutie Flakes.
It's been a minute.
Wow.
It's been a minute, guys. So Josh Allen has back-to-back seasons where he receives the Player of the Week for the offense.
We've had several Defensive Players of the Weeks.
And it's been 20 years since someone else besides him has done it. That's pretty crazy.
That's a stat and a half, guy.
100%. I mean, Mario Williams has been Defensive Player of the Week before.
Trey White
was just this month. I mean, maybe this young core that McDermott's
Kyle Williams
building,
has been.
Maybe this young core that McDermott's building is really starting to go off, right? You know, Trey White Player of the Week this month. Josh Allen Player of the Week this month. Tremaine Edmonds probably could have if he had a little bit about like an interception or something. He was an interception away from being Defensive Player of the Week in that Cleveland game, I would say.
Oh yeah, I played great.
I think Milano's been Player of the Week, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
he's going to this week.
Actually, you know who also deserves Offensive Player of the Week? John Brown. John Brown's number 1 for wide receivers in the AFC in receiving yards. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I don't think Josh Allen does what he does this year so far. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, without John Brown. He's been a stud. We've been on the John Brown hype train since before training camp. I mean, the day they signed him, I was on that train. I wanted him to sign him last year when he came into town and then ended up signing with the Ravens. But I'm all in on John Brown always. They gave him a nice little contract. He's going to cushion up. He's going to be here for a little bit. Do the Bills have a number 1 wide receiver, Dave? I know this is something you harp on constantly. This is your hill that you were willing to die on in the summer, that they don't have a number 1 wide receiver. I wasn't even sold they had a number 1 wide receiver, but I always knew that John Brown was an answer.
I would hope that every single one of you in this room and every single one of you listening would want better for that position. I think that we can definitely upgrade the position. Right now, John Brown has proven me wrong. He is the number 1 receiver right now on this team. Next year, I would say that my hope is he's number 2 and we have a upgrade at that position. And we're just stockpiling at receiver next year.
I got to be honest with you. He's not only the number 1 wide receiver on this team. He's the number 1 wide receiver in the AFC today.
Yeah.
Only Travis Kelce has more AFC receivers.
And I am high on John Brown. And Cortland Sutton, who we're playing this week, is right behind him by, I think,
11 yards.
Yeah, double digits.
And he won't get that.
No,
against
he's
Trey
not
White.
getting it. No.
But he's not going to end the season number 1. I don't believe that. I don't think he's going to.
What's stopping him? He's got to play Gilmore,
We
but
got
he already
our
got
toughest stretch
50 yards on
We got
Gilmore
our
once.
toughest stretch
Yeah.
of the season coming up. Crappy weather's coming around, especially in Buffalo. So
Big
you
hands,
do run
big arm.
you do run the
Looks
ball a
great in
little more.
shorts.
Don't get me wrong. I know all the internet warriors in their underwear are going to say that I'm picking on John Brown.
Please wear pants.
But
So waking
John
up next
Brown,
to
I'm a huge
you.
fan of John Brown. I want to upgrade the
Underwear.
position next year.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with him being number 2. There's nothing wrong with Beasley being a true number 3. And if we get a number 1, Beasley's used in the form he should be used in, because we can all agree, once again, that Beasley's not living his full potential right now as the Bill, but John Brown is exceeding his.
I'll do this. Go ahead. Say what you need to say. but I
Okay.
was going to take the...
So,
Torch.
little fun fact, too. I know you don't like when I pull up stats, but John Brown already has more receiving yards than he did last year with less receptions. He is outperforming any of our expectations. I mean, I don't
He
have
has
to harp
more receptions than he had last year.
Yeah,
85
I'm
to
not-
97.
I'm not taking anything away from John Brown.
Those
I
are
think.
targets.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like when you pull up stats.
Well, anyways, I'm not taking anything away from John
know how
Brown.
to
John
read.
Brown.
Shit.
I'm good. John Brown's great. He's got a position on this team. I'm happy to have him. I want to upgrade next year. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to upgrade the wide receiver position still. Listen, if John Brown doesn't have the monster numbers he put up last week, we're still kind of scratching our heads about this offense. Let's be honest. The offense has only shown us one great game. And who's to say they can't do it again? You know what I'm saying? Isaac in the building, right? So the big thing is, who are you going to put on the opposite side of John Brown now? I think you put another big wide receiver. There's plenty out there next offseason, which isn't what the focus is at this point. You free up Cole Beasley. You still free up John Brown. John Brown frees himself up. Free smoke, he frees himself.
Free smoke, free smoke.
I think Cole Beasley's open. Yes, he's being undervalued, but I also don't think we're looking at him as often as we should. I think he's open in a lot of plays. We always see it in the All-22, the watchbacks. He's open. He's there. He's around. I think one thing this team, is going to have a hard time with in the colder games, like Dave has mentioned, is running the football. I don't think it's something they're necessarily great at. I think it's something that maybe the first time in a long, long time, the Bills might not have the world's best running game, the most consistent running game. Now, I say that, but they're 9th in the NFL in running. Isn't that crazy? I say that today, and I'm going to have a hard time finding people that would disagree with me that they're not the greatest at running, but they're 9th in the NFL in rushing still,
Yeah, and again, a lot of that is Allen running himself,
which is beautiful.
Which
is fine because he has learned to slide.
both Devin Singletary and Frank Gore have more rushing yards than him. It's going to be nice not having your quarterback
I would hope so.
lead your team in rushing.
No, they're playing complementary football with the rushing still. I do think, though, that Allen will be the one to shepherd this team through December.
Oh, 1,000%. And I mean, leading into December as well, I think it's very important to feed Dawson Knox as well. He's your third leading receiver.
That's the money shot right there, Jake.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to need a big target when it's cold outside. Those little guys don't want to get hit. I mean,
The hands on Dawson Knox is what disrupts me.
Yeah, Dawson Knox getting experience
Yeah, you
in
just
the
gotta
offseason and in
Sorry,
these
David.
cold weather games. I'm sorry, Jake.
No, go ahead.
Jake, you nailed it on the head there. Dawson Knox is the key to all of the offense success going forward. We've needed a tight end. Hopefully we have one. Sure, he has chops, but, he's still a rookie.
Still coming around, I understand. But
And I think Dawson Knox could be the future of tight end for us, which is exactly what we need.
Something
it's
the
exactly what
Bills-
we need going into the season. He's Tyler Kroft's worst friend right now.
Yeah, I didn't expect Tyler Kroft to do much this year. I mean, I certainly expected him back earlier in the year. But to your point, obviously, you think hands are a bit of a problem, which I agree. I mean, he's a young guy. He didn't get a lot of targets in college. I think he's one of those players that you're going to have to hit him right in the chest, which with Josh Allen, we're starting to see that his accuracy is improving from last year. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. I mean, most of his drops are kind of out and away from him. So perfect world, yeah, you want to get him right in the body.
one thing I do want to stress, and it's one thing to me that I don't think that Josh Allen's accuracy is improving because he's getting better. I think he's getting more comfortable. I know that sounds weird, and it sounds like I'm saying the same thing. But I don't think he's any worse or any better with the accuracy. I think he's starting to trust himself in his wide receivers. For maybe the first time in his quarterbacking career, he wasn't very great at Wyoming with the accuracy. He's at 60% completion percentage in the NFL this year. I don't think that's the best. It's not the greatest still.
No,
it's definitely not
certainly
up there. But I think he's starting to trust himself. John Brown getting open is a huge help. Cole Beasley having sure hands, which, there's been times where him and Dawson Knox have made some drops. I just think him finding trust in players that want him to succeed and are willing to put in the work with him helps. This is a great third down team. I think the stat came out on that. Guys, check out that Twitter page about Buffalo quarterbacks. You know what I'm talking about.
Quarterback watch?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
They had a great stat about Josh Allen being second in the league through 11 weeks in accuracy on third and plus 8+ yards.
Oh, yeah, I think I did see that, it's a great
He's
stat.
second in the league. That's a great stat. You're starting to trust the offense more with Josh Allen on
1000%.
third and longs. When they get to third and long, you're not saying, oh, well, this is a punt, might as well run it. You're starting to be like, all right, let's make a play. This is play time right here. He's second in the league. Accuracy.
Yeah, and something I want to piggyback off of the John Brown thing with who are we going to get. There's a lot of offseason left to go. A lot of receivers are going to be free. A lot of receivers are going to get cut. A lot of receivers are going to re-sign. A lot of receivers are going to – a lot of people in the draft.
Years.
But the guy I'm targeting with the money we have right now, and again, we have to sign our own guys, Mike Evans. I want Mike Evans on this team. He's a big, tall receiver. Is exactly what we need. A deep threat, too. He's going to command a lot of money, but you got to pay good players. And him outside John Brown and Cole Beasley, I think that would, and Dawson Knox getting better, we would have one of the top tier offenses in the league. That's a guy I want to keep an eye on.
I certainly don't hate that, David, just because he is a big, strong, physical wide receiver.
He's not so much a prima donna, I'd say.
No,
he's
a
not. Workhorse.
Yeah, and like I said, he's a big, strong, tough guy. Right. So it's going to be nice he's going to complement the speed guys very well.
Yeah, he's hungry too. He's been on a losing Bucks team for a while. He wants to go to a team and win. He wants to go to the playoffs. That's the type of guy you want on your team right now.
You know who else came here hungry though? Kelvin Benjamin, and he didn't stop eating as soon as he got
biscuits,
here.
Man.
Speaking of nonstop, Ty Nsekhe might not be done for the year after all.
No, he's downgraded to week, right?
No, and that's a best case scenario so far. So we'll take it. I said something this morning at breakfast with David. He didn't wake up to me. At breakfast this morning with David, I mentioned that it's a really good thing we haven't heard too much about Nsekhe, because if he was out, they would have already said that by now. And you know what? The report came out earlier this afternoon that he's week to week. So we might have him back by the Pittsburgh game.
There has to be, I don't know what people believe in, but there has to be a witch doctor at one Bills drive, because
this is that new training facility.
We've had we've been very good with our injuries this year. I know the Harrison Phillips and the backup linebackers are all hurt. I know that Josh Allen had an injury, and I know that
this came back the same week.
I know that Ty Nsekhe's injured right now, but this is amazing for this time of the year right now. We are going to our biggest 6-game stretch right now, but the fact that there have to be a witch doctor, it has to be part of the process, right?
I think it's just the new training facility they have here.
Those damn Pagulas.
They bought a witch doctor. Who would have thunk?
Jake, what's next? What do we got here?
I don't know.
We got the Chris Harris comments, and if you haven't seen it, they're not so much. Now, we talked about it with Dave. He doesn't think that they're that big of a deal.
Let me explain what I think.
Go ahead.
I saw the comments, and actually, before I go on, Zach, can you give us a blurb of what they are?
Yeah, he said something along the lines. I don't want to, quote it.
I do, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal, so I don't remember it.
So, this is what he said. He said something along the lines of, he kept stopping himself and saying he wants to just say positive things about Josh Allen. He really wanted to knock him, but he kept stopping and saying, I just want to say positive things about Josh Allen. And then he started saying something along the lines of backhanded compliments, such as, he's solid. They're smart. They keep the ball moving. They keep the clock moving. And then he goes, if I can give him a little, probably advice. And then he stops and says, actually, I don't want to. And then he says, I'm just going to keep it positive about him today. And then he said he's nothing like Cam Newton. He said Cam Newton's actually legit.
Chris Harris is boring.
And real. Well, you guys made me fucking read it, and I told you guys to look it up all.
I know.
I made you guys look it up twice.
That was the point of Zach reading it, when none of it matters.
Jake doesn't know how to read.
I don't know why anyone would be fired up by these comments. So let me tell you, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott,
Damn.
DeAndre Hopkins. Name someone else that's good. Antonio Brown when he was good. And Le'Veon Bell. All of those players get shit talked about him all the time. Finally, the Bills get a player that I guess talks shit about him, like Josh Allen. It's about time. It means you're being respected around the league. Who cares if
he's not respected in the league.
what he said wasn't that big of a deal? We're laughing about it.
Listen,
who cares?
I'm not laughing.
I mean, when you have one interception, and
Listen, the bottom line is
23 tackles.
They're pretty much telling him that they just need to keep him in the pocket, which is no different from what they told Tyrod. All of Tyrod's tenure, they just said we just have to make him a quarterback. They're pretty much trying to just say, Chris Harris is not saying but saying. He wants to just say that they want to keep Josh Allen in the pocket and he can't beat him. And he probably doesn't think he could beat him even if they keep him outside of the pocket. I mean to tell you, Chris Harris, you're not listening, but a bone to pick to play. You're 3-7. Just shut up and take your paycheck and go home at the end of the season. This isn't about you.
I'm glad we have a player that other teams are talking about. I'm glad we finally are at that position.
I mean, let's be not thankful, but I mean, it's nothing like Jalen Ramsey's comments at the beginning of the year. I mean, they're not that bad, but I certainly see where
he made Jalen Ramsey eat his words, so
he did.
I'm up for that again.
And I do think he'll do it this week, and that's why none of this bulletin board material really works. I don't think it bothers any of the players. It's just a guy in a losing team talking about losing shit.
There is a lot of chatter in Denver this week about would you want Josh Allen because he was in the draft. They did have the 5th pick.
Wyoming isn't far.
They did have an opportunity to draft him, and they passed and went with Bradley Chubb, who is on IR. And it's a lot of them. It's a mixed bag, I'd say. I wouldn't say it's one-sided either way. It's a lot of I wish we had Bradley Chubb and Drew Lock because we don't know what Drew Lock is, and a lot of people in Colorado must not watch TV or watch football because they must think that Josh Allen's a completed project. No, he's just getting started. We all know that he's a working project. We'll have to see what he is still, but they think that the unknown of Drew Lock is better than what the final product, which is not, of Josh Allen. Now, with that said, there's a lot of fans out there that would say rather have I forgot who it was, maybe Shane Barrett, Shaquille Barrett, I believe his name is.
The linebacker?
Yeah. And Josh Allen, because they didn't sign Shaquille Barrett because they had Bradley Chubb. So there's a mixed bag here. Denver's a little divided, and that's fine because you're 3-7. Fans should be wanting Elway out, but
Elway is awful.
When you're a god in Colorado, it's all that matters.
Real quick, what school is Brandon Allen from? Does anyone else?
I'm going to guess
do
Memphis.
We not care enough?
I'm guessing Memphis.
I'm going to guess one of the Carolinas.
Why don't you know how to type with 2 hands?
I got a microphone.
Sorry, fans, bear with us.
He pulled up the baseball player.
Listen, I just Googled it. All right.
Let me type it.
Oh my.
Sorry, guys. I hate this computer. If it makes you feel any better.
He is from
Fayetteville, and he played college in
University of Arkansas.
Arkansas.
That was fun.
SEC. Sorry to waste everyone's time.
That's good
I could have
radio
done that
right
on my
there.
own time.
I can't take my hands off the mic.
I could have done that on my own time. Sorry, guys.
You have a phone. Check.
Dave doesn't know how to read Chris Harris comments. Doesn't know what to think about pre-podcast.
That
That's all right.
That BlackBerry.
He doesn't have a
black
BlackBerry. He's got
button.
an iPhone. So pretty much, they are 3-7. The Broncos do have some injuries. Whichever they're questionable, you would take that. However, I don't think they're totally a 3-7 team. They have won some games. They beat the Browns, who the Bills lost to, and kind of a fluky loss. 2 field goals. That's a
Beat
win.
the Chargers.
They beat the Chargers and they beat the Colts. Tennessee. They beat Tennessee. Now
That
listen,
was a good game.
those are 3 wins, but they've also lost to some bad teams and some fringe teams. I'm not sold on this Broncos team. I don't think that they're great. They are better than their record, I'd say, though. I'd say they're maybe a 4 or 5 win team so far.
They definitely had some close losses with the Colts, Jacksonville, Chicago, and I guess Oakland. So, it's kind of going what the Bills were over the last couple of years. You're losing a lot of close games. So, they're kind of on that fringe, too. But, obviously, our records are
Zach, how's
potentially different.
How's Philip Lindsay? You have him on your fantasy team. Give us a heads up on him.
He's questionable.
I would say
Helpful.
so Philip Lindsay, sorry for the technical difficulties here. Jake will fix it because
I'm good.
he'll have to. And then Philip Lindsay hasn't been great this year. He's been less than stellar, if I could say anything about him. A down year for sure. Very wishy-washy. He does have okay games. If he gets touchdowns, he's worthy in fantasy. Rushing yards wise, kind of middle of the pack, top tier still. I don't know. I don't start him every week.
It's tough because, I mean, he came off the scene as a nobody, undrafted, obviously.
Last year
kind of
rookie, yeah.
shocks the league by storm.
And then they bring in Royce Freeman, and he kind of takes away some carries from him. And now
Exactly. So,
it's
I
not
mean,
great.
I don't think it's safe to say that Philip Lindsay is going to be sustainable in this league, but, I mean, he did shock the league. And, I mean, he's doing decent for being an undrafted rookie.
Yeah.
So.
As a team that needs to get better at stopping the run, I don't think Philip Lindsay is going to hurt you too much. But also a 95-year-old Adrian Peterson came in and got 101 yards and a half. So who knows? You never know what. I think the fans need to treat this game like a playoff game. This is a must-win for the Bills. Hands down, close the book. This is a must-win for the Bills. If you don't get this win, your season is on the line. Madmen by the numbers right here. Jake, give us the question.
All right.
Presented by Prima Pizza on the corner of West Chippewa and Pearl. Stop in for your slices. Great location.
Sure.
I agree with Zach with being a must-win because we at least need to go 3-3 the last 6 games because 9-7 is not going to get you in. 10-6 will probably. So we need to at least go 3-3 the next 6 games.
Yeah. So kind of, I mean, God forbid, knock on wood, if the Bills do happen to drop this game, what would you say our percentage chance to make the playoffs is in the event we lose?
David, go ahead.
50-50. I think that the world's not falling apart if we lose, but it's definitely worrisome because you're going to be playing a desperate Cowboys team. You're going to be playing a Ravens team that wants the number 1 spot in the East, or the American Conference, sorry. And Steelers, which will be a huge game. And I'm surprised it's not flexed already. And then the Patriots, which are always tough, and the Jets, which we think
the
will
Steelers
win.
aren't good.
So
Well,
I think that, there's still wild card spots, Zach. And so I think this is a 50-50 thing. You need to win a Ravens game, or you need to win a Steelers game, or a Patriots game if you don't win this one.
I would go with 25% chance if they lose this game to make the playoffs.
and that's very fair because, I mean, you have to win the games you're supposed to. And you
And
also
they're
have
running
to-
out of those games that they're supposed
Exactly.
to
I mean, what we have this game, we have maybe the Steelers game, and then we have the Jets game.
Yeah, there's 3 games on your schedule that you probably will be close to favored or favored.
Our last 6 games, we have the 3rd toughest schedule.
And you got to be at least 500 to make the playoffs.
1,000%.
And that's why
Which is scary.
I put so much stock in that Cleveland game 2 weeks ago, and everyone shut it down. But you needed to win an AFC North game. And now you need to win 1, if not 2.
Which, again, why it's nice to have these non-injuries right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to stay healthy when the games matter in November and December. I mean, especially we know it's going to get cold in Buffalo, and those injuries, if they're kind of lingering, they're going to add up. So being kind of 95% healthy is really going to help us in that December push and on into January.
Real quick, players to watch for out of the Denver Broncos. Brandon Allen hasn't been great.
No.
He's been just enough. They blew a 20-point lead last week. This Broncos team is Dave's favorite non-Bills team, and it really shows the way he talks about them. He loves this team. He was talking so much smack about how I was downplaying them when they were up 20-0 against the Vikings, and then I said they suck at halftime, and then look at that, they lost.
Don't sleep on the Broncos. They have a very scary defense.
Listen, you can't sleep
underrated
on
defense.
You can't sleep on them just because this is a must-win. You can't sleep on must-wins. That's the bottom line. However, Cortland Sutton, stud. Second best wide receiver in the AFC in regards to yards. You know, John Brown's number 1, but 11 yards behind him is Cortland Sutton. Not a big gap. You're getting probably the same production out of him recently.
Yeah.
I don't think they've played a defense nearly as good as the Bills. So that's kind of where the defense comes into factor here. It's going to be a big game for the Bills defense. It's going to be an even bigger game for the Bills offense. You have to respond to how well you played last week. You can't make it a one-hit wonder. This isn't Milli Vanilli. You got to follow it up and come back with it.
Damn.
Yeah, what's the weather report Sunday? Is it snow in the forecast?
Yeah. It's
In the morning.
Yeah.
It'll clear up. It's going to be a chilly game.
Mid-30s, low 40s.
Denver's used to the cold. Bills are used to the cold at this point.
Next should be a pretty fun game, probably.
Just got to have a slobber knocker, that's all. It'll be a fun game to bundle up, go see a Bills win, get to 8-3, and then 4 games later, you got to, 4 days later, you got a Thanksgiving game. listen to our podcast after the Broncos game. I hate to pipe it up so much, but it is a double header. We are going to recap the Broncos game and preview the Thanksgiving showdown with the Dallas frickin' Cowboys all in one podcast. It's going to be a podcast extravaganza.
We will be fired the hell up.
It's Mad Men double-decker bus style.
Damn.
We're going to be recapping and previewing.
Go to
We might
London,
even switch
mate.
spots just to show you that's a different podcast.
Yeah,
halfway
I'm
through.
bringing a change of clothes, too, to show you guys.
Yeah, he's going
how
to do a Wonder
dedicated we
Woman
are.
change. He's going to stand in a circle and change out of his clothes real quick.
Predictions for the game and breakout star.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
One more.
There's one thing that I want to talk about, guys.
Horseshit.
It's the opposite. The holiday season is upon us. Of course, we have Thanksgiving and
Just a week away.
Christmas. Here at Madman Sports, we want to give back to the community.
All about giving.
So what we want to do, and please leave a comment and say, kind of give us some suggestions on what we should do here. We want to donate money. So for each subscriber we get,
From now until the end of the year. Not holding back. We're going from now, November 20th, all the way to the end of the year.
for each subscriber we get,
Might
we're
even
going to
extend
donate
it.
$5. And we want to give it to a charity of some sort. Now, we are open to suggestions. There's a lot of great organizations
We
in
might
the
even
area.
split it up in amongst a bunch of different charities. One charity we do have in mind is Little Portion Friary. It's a Buffalo homeless shelter. They do great things there.
SPCA?
SPCA is something Dave wants to donate to, and that's perfectly fine. Jake has been, big on both of them. We're going to try to split up the money as best we can. For every subscriber we get, we're not even capping it. We're going to put $5 to a charity in Buffalo to help give back to the community, because that's what we are. The city of good neighbors. Got to keep it up.
But only if you get people to subscribe.
No, we'll still donate.
Yeah, you don't need to have people subscribe.
We're still going to do something in the event we get 0 subscribers.
We do have a minimum, but we don't have a ceiling. We are exactly what Josh. We don't have a ceiling, but we have a floor. Does that make sense? We are
Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen. We're Josh Allen.
Whoa.
We have no floor, but you know what our ceiling. Or we have. Whoa,
You should
you
just
know
move
what
on.
our
You should
floor
just
is.
move on.
Now
We know what our
this
floor is, but we don't have a ceiling.
is a podcast.
Exactly.
Live TV, baby.
So yeah, like I said, $5 for every subscriber we get now until New Year's Day. Dave, give us the predictions. We're giving the ball away still. Don't stop with the giving around.
Yeah, score predictions and my star of the game, someone that needs to break out and play well to pretty much win the game. I'm going with the demanding Bills win here, 33-9. I think the stadium will be rocking. I think the offense will be as good as they were last week. I think Levi Wallace needs to step it up. I think this is piss or get off the pot moment for him.
I think it's a Kevin Johnson game.
I think Levi Wallace needs to show that he wants a starting job. If not, Kevin Johnson's
All right.
starting there.
So
33-9.
I'm going to go as well with a commanding win, 37-17. The Bills' offense is going to kind of roll on that momentum. I mean, people talk about how the Broncos' defense are 4th in the league. We're 3rd. Somehow, we're 7-3, and they're 3-7. There's some different correlations there. I think we're a better defense. We have a better offense. Perfect.
I'm gonna give it short and sweet. Close your eyes real quick. Picture this. It's the week of Thanksgiving. You're at New Era Stadium. It's cold out. You're bundled up. The Bills are clobbering the Broncos. Everyone's getting excited for a big Thursday matchup that now they feel like they have momentum for. Dallas versus the Bills. Everyone's excited. You're gonna listen to Mad Men Sports when you come home that night. Bills win 27-20.
Players,
Reach.
Player that needs to break out. Don't stop breaking out, Josh Allen. Break out like you're a 13-year-old freshman in high school. Break out,
Jake
dude.
Player.
Dawson Knox.
Boom.
Thank you for listening, guys.